May 20th, 2013, an EF5 monster carved through Moore, Oklahoma.
Damon, this is going F5 right now. It just crossed the river. I think I've seen 2 cars get picked up off the bridge and thrown in the air. This thing is violent.
Killing 24 people and leaving a community forever scarred. But to understand what made this tornado so devastating, we need to go back to a spring when the skies turned against Oklahoma. May 2013 is burned into memory as one of the most violent tornado outbreaks in recent history.
Whoa, my God!
Right, go right. I know. Hurry, get away from this stuff. Oh my God, we're getting hit with debris.
A 3-day siege of severe weather.
It is doing massive damage across South Moore. God, this is terrible.
Meteorologists watched with growing dread as atmospheric conditions aligned perfectly for disaster. On May 18th, the outbreak began, unleashing tornado after tornado across the Great Plains. They tore through communities from Kansas to Illinois. But Oklahoma was the worst. The Shawnee tornado was a warning shot, an EF4 with winds up to 200 miles per hour that obliterated entire neighborhoods east of Oklahoma City.
Now watch for flying debris.
2 lives lost, dozens injured, but the atmosphere wasn't done. For Moore, this wasn't their first dance with death. 14 years earlier, an F5 tornado with the fastest winds ever recorded, 302 miles per hour.
Folks, we plead with you, just go to your safe spot if you possibly can. That's an F. Look at the horizontal vortex. That is an F4 to an F5 tornado.
Carved nearly the same path through their city. 36 people died, over 8,000 buildings destroyed, $1.5 billion in damage. 4 years after that, 2003, another F4 tornado tore through Moore.
Right to left. Oh my God. There it is. Oh my God.
I do see debris coming out of this tornado that appears to be touching the ground at this point.
The community rebuilt. They always rebuilt.
Around 90% of homes here in Moore were not touched by the storm. But having had 3 major tornadoes strike here in the past 14 years, people know that it could be their home next time.
By 2013, Moore was a thriving suburb of 57,000 people. Schools full of children, new businesses, rebuilt homes, people who had survived before, convinced they'd paid their dues. But on May 20th, the skies would teach a brutal lesson. It started like any Monday in late May. Moore high school seniors were hours away from graduation, families making plans for celebrations, children finishing their last day of school, lunch break chatter about summer vacation. But 90 miles to the west, something hidden was beginning to stir. The sky was starting to boil. Meteorologists had been tracking the setup for days. A dry line pushing eastward toward the I-35 corridor. Surface temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. Dew points in the mid-70s. Extreme instability. And worse, strong wind shear, the kind that births supercells. 1 a.m. The Storm Prediction Center issued a convective outlook. 10% probability of violent EF2 to EF5 tornadoes within 25 miles of central Oklahoma. For storm chasers, that number meant one thing. Today would be historic. By early afternoon, thunderstorms began exploding along the dry line near Chickasha.
We got insulation snowing.
One storm in particular rapidly intensified into a classic supercell. Unlike the storms to its north and south, which interfered with each other, this supercell remained discrete, undisturbed. It had the entire atmospheric buffet to itself.
Funnel.
2:40 p.m. The National Weather Service issued a tornado warning for Moore and surrounding areas. 16 minutes lead time. Moore public schools had already made a critical decision that morning. Cancel all after-school activities. Shelter-in-place protocols activated. No 3 p.m. dismissal. No buses running. That choice saved countless lives. Many parents, anxious about the forecast, had already picked up their children, but not all. At Plaza Towers Elementary and Briarwood Elementary, teachers and students prepared to ride out the storm, but there was a problem. Research would later reveal that 10% of more residents, up to 5,000 people, never heard the warnings. Windows closed against the heat muffled sirens. Of those who did hear the warning, only 77% took immediate shelter. 2:56 p.m. On meteorologist screens, the Hook echo became crystal clear, a tight, violent circulation. The tornado had already touched down near Newcastle, 4 miles west of Moore. There was no more time. TV stations dropped all pretense of calm professionalism. What they were seeing on their radar was terrifying.
All right, Gary, I'm on South Pennsylvania here. Look at the tornado now. Take our stream. It'll be slightly delayed. This is going to be an EF2. It's going to be about 200 yards wide. EF2, now it's growing. Wow, Gary, it's a destructive tornado. Now becoming a destructive tornado.
The debris ball signature was enormous. The tornado was growing. Then, the feed cut out. Darkness swallowed the city. 3:15 p.m. The tornado crossed Western Avenue at EF4 intensity, then rapidly strengthened. It slammed into Briarwood Elementary School with the full force of an EF5. Winds between 200 and 210 miles per hour. 2 wings of the school completely destroyed. The roof ripped away like paper. Brick walls pulverized. Inside, 6 children and teachers had taken shelter in an interior bathroom. The building around them disintegrated.
Honey, it's okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, my house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
When rescuers pulled them from the rubble, all were alive. Bruised, terrified, but alive.
Well, I was on the ground and my ears just went beep, and I couldn't hear anything except cracking and kids screaming.
Against every odd, Briarwood had 0 fatalities. 3:16 p.m. Just east of the school, the Westmore Housing Addition. The tornado reached peak intensity. Multiple homes rated EF damage. Well-built, anchor-bolted brick houses swept completely off their foundations. Grass scoured from the ground. Trees debarked and snapped like matchsticks. Tragically, 2 people lost their lives here. The destruction was absolute. 3:20 p.m. Plaza Towers Elementary School. These would become the darkest 4 minutes of the disaster. 75 students and teachers sheltered inside. The children followed protocol. Interior hallways, heads down, arms covering necks. They did everything right. The tornado struck with tremendous violence. The roof vanished. Walls collapsed inward. In the newer classroom building, a hallway wall designated as a safe area crumbled under the pressure. Tragically, 7 third-grade children lost their lives in the tornado. To respect their privacy and honor their memory, we will not be naming them individually. Teachers frantically dug with their bare hands. First responders raced to the scene. Parents arrived desperate to find their children. Some found them. Some never would. One teacher bravely used her body to shield 3 first graders in a hallway.
And a teacher took cover of us, Miss Crosswhite.
She threw her body right over you, didn't she?
Yes.
Was she covering you and some other students?
She was covering me and my friend Zachary, and then I told her that we were fine because we were holding on to something. And then she went over to my friend Antonio and covered him, so she saved our lives.
Despite the massive destruction around them, the children emerged without serious injury. 3:21 p.m. A 7-Eleven convenience store on Telephone Road. 3 people died when the building exploded into debris. 3:22 p.m. Moore Medical Center. 400 patients, employees and shelter seekers inside. The tornado tore through the building envelope. Windows shattered, walls buckled. Cars in the parking lot hurled through the air. One landed on the roof. Miraculously, All 400 people evacuated safely in the chaos. No deaths. The tornado was now at peak intensity. An EF5 monster, 1.3 miles wide. To put that in perspective, that's wider than 20 football fields side by side. Winds of 200 to 210 miles per hour. For comparison, that's faster than a Formula One car at maximum speed. But there's no controlled track here. No brakes, just raw, mindless destruction carving through a city. The storm plowed into the heart of Moore's commercial district. 7-Eleven, Taco Bell, CVS Pharmacy, businesses packed with people doing their Monday afternoon errands. In seconds, it was all gone. The entire strip mall disintegrated. Storm chasers had been filming nearby. Their footage captures the moment reality shifted from awe to horror.
Wow. David, we have it on Skype. David,
you can hear it. The shift from excitement to terror. The realization that this isn't a show anymore.
I've never seen that spinning so hard.
We got to go.
You see it spinning so hard at the surface?
Yes. I've never seen a tornado this violent in my entire life.
I haven't. I mean, obviously,
this is the most violent tornado I've ever seen by far.
What is that person doing?
In mere seconds, dozens of buildings obliterated. Cars picked up from parking lots and hurled over 200 meters. Metal twisted like aluminium foil. The tornado hit a Home Depot. Employees and customers ran for the only shelter available, a back room with concrete walls. They huddled together, strangers holding each other, praying. The building around them exploded. When they emerged, the world they knew had vanished. But they were alive. At the Orr family farm in Celestial Acres, over 100 horses were killed. Some were found a quarter-mile away. Trees stripped not just of leaves and branches, but bark, ripped down to bare wood. The ground itself scoured, grass torn away, leaving only red Oklahoma clay. The tornado continued east, demolishing neighborhood after neighborhood. Homes that had been rebuilt after 1999 destroyed again. Same families, same lots, different tornado. It carved through Highland East and East Lake estates. 9 people died in 8 different homes within a quarter-mile of Plaza Towers Elementary. 3:28 p.m. The tornado crossed Interstate 44. Semi-trucks flipped like toys. Cars crushed. Then finally, it began to weaken. By 3:35 p.m., 39 minutes after touchdown, the tornado dissipated east of Air Depot Boulevard in southeast Oklahoma City. It left behind a scar 14 miles long and up to 1.3 miles wide at its peak, a path of total devastation that would take years to heal, if it ever would. But the disaster wasn't over. Under the rubble, voices called for help. People were trapped. Children were missing. The death toll was still unknown. There was no time to process what had just happened, only time to act. Hands were needed. Emergency workers, doctors, volunteers, anyone who could lift debris, treat wounds, search for survivors. Moore's entire community became a command center, with no orders, just instinct. Help poured in from every direction. The Oklahoma National Guard deployed 163 personnel. FEMA teams rushed from surrounding states, neighboring fire departments, police forces, medical units, thousands of volunteers. Teachers who'd survived searching for their students, parents digging through wreckage looking for their children. The tornado had outlined a quarter of Moore on the map. 1,150 homes completely destroyed. The years of life within them, the photos, the memories, the irreplaceable, all scattered to the wind. Another 335 structures sustained major damage. Over 13,000 structures in total affected in some way. 387 people were injured, some critically. Moore Medical Center, damaged itself, worked around the clock treating the wounded. More than 500 commercial buildings were destroyed, 10 schools, 2 hospitals, dozens of churches. Total damages exceeded $2 billion, making it the third costliest tornado in U.S. history. But no number can account for the price of a life. 24 chairs sat empty at family tables, and the count wasn't final. 7 children at Plaza Towers Elementary, 3 people at the Telephone Road 7-Eleven, 2 in the Westmore neighborhood. Adults and children, mothers and fathers, students and teachers, each one a universe of potential, ended in seconds. And the storm kept killing after the winds died. The tornado had churned soil and debris together, creating a perfect storm for rare fungal infections. Multiple survivors developed mucormycosis from contaminated wounds. The invisible enemy attacked even after the visible one had passed. It took everything Moore had, but the city refused to break. Within hours, the cleanup began. Within days, plans for rebuilding. Within weeks, a memorial for those who were lost took shape. Moore had been here before, and they knew they would rise again. Days after the tornado, the work continued. Emergency workers navigating streets lined with splinters that used to be homes. Volunteers from across the nation descended on Moore, chainsaws buzzing, dump trucks hauling away mountains of debris. Neighbors helping neighbors sort through what could be salvaged. Within 3 years, Moore transformed. School bells rang again in brand new buildings, these ones with storm shelters built into their foundations, something that should have been there all along. Moore became the first city in America to mandate ICC 500 safe rooms in new residential construction. New building codes required homes to withstand winds of up to 135 miles per hour. If they couldn't prevent tornadoes, they could at least prepare for them. The hospital reopened, redesigned, stronger. A memorial park bloomed where Plaza Towers Elementary once stood. 7 benches, 7 memorials for the children who lost their lives. Only the memorials kept the pain alive. Old photos on shelves, quiet remembrances, the scars only survivors can see. Certain cloud formations trigger memories that never fully fade, but neither does the memory of quiet heroism. The statistics tell us the scale, but the names tell us the cost. These are the people who died, and the people who gave everything trying to save them. Karen Marinelli, first-grade teacher at Plaza Towers Elementary. When the tornado warning sounded, she moved her students to the interior hallway. When the walls started to shake, she gathered 3 6-year-olds beneath her and wrapped her body around them like a shield. The roof ripped away, a car fell from the sky, a brick wall collapsed. Both crashed down directly on top of Karen. Despite severe injuries, she held her position. The 3 children were underneath her. When rescuers pulled them from the rubble hours later, the children emerged without serious injury.
We had to pull a car out of the front hallway off a teacher, and I don't know what that lady's name is, but she had 3 little kids underneath her. Good job, Teach.
Karen spent 3 months in a wheelchair. She would make a full recovery. A year later, she gave birth to a daughter. She named her Lillian, a gift from God, she said, her reward for the storm she survived. Tragically, 7 third-grade children lost their lives at Plaza Towers Elementary that day. They had followed their teacher's instructions and sheltered in the hallway. They did nothing wrong. The tornado took them anyway. Their teachers tried. They tried so hard. Some teachers used their own bodies to shield students when the walls came down, but concrete and metal don't care about courage. At their memorial service, thousands attended. A community mourning its children, trying to make sense of the senseless. Lieutenant Philip Wise, Moore Fire Department, was off duty when the tornado struck. He didn't wait for orders. He drove toward the devastation, calling dispatch, deploying himself. He would spend the next 72 hours searching for survivors, pulling bodies from rubble, coordinating rescue operations. When asked why he didn't go home, he said simply, "These are my people." Hundreds of ordinary citizens became heroes that day. The neighbor who pulled a family from their collapsed home with his bare hands. The teacher who shielded her students even as the building disintegrated around her. The storm chasers who abandoned their cameras to help evacuate a gas station moments before it exploded. The volunteers who flew in from across the country, not for fame or recognition, but because people needed help. Moore rebuilt, but it rebuilt smarter. Schools with shelters, homes with safe rooms, a community that refused to gamble with lives anymore. Today, over a decade later, Moore still stands. Houses line streets where only foundations remained. Children play in parks where debris once scattered. The city learned an agonizing lesson and paid for it in blood. The tornado took nearly everything, but it couldn't take resilience. It couldn't take courage. It couldn't take the way neighbors held each other in the rubble and refused to let go. Every storm eventually ends, but the way we protect each other, that's what endures. Take care of one another.